Welcome everyone to the Goddess Temple. My name is Chris, and for today's video, what I have coming through is this truth and abundance of you. And I always find it a little bit strange whenever that's the type of strength and power that I come off with. But the thing is, this abundance of you, what that truthfully means is there is something about you that you know that is fruitful, that is pure, that is powerful, and that goes beyond what you believe and understand of you. And it goes beyond your understanding of the way you've showed up in your life and the way life is playing out for you. And there is something here for you to say and do more of. You're saying and doing more of the wholeness of your life, of what is possible, of the stories, of the limitations, of the essence of you, of what's more of. Um, and you're saying that it's okay and it's right for you to have and do what you're here to do, that there's a validity to the way you're stepping into your sovereignty, the way you're stepping into your life, of what you're here to create, of who you're here to create with, of even the people that might be your closest allies, your closest people. The thing is, they are your enemies. They are these people that bring you down, that from time to time say a sly little comment, a little backhanded comment, um, and you're wondering like what just happened. Like I thought we were good. Like aren't you supposed to be supportive? Or oh yeah, they get like that when they're tired or when they're this. You make these stories up and you've excused them so many times over and over again, and you're realizing that it's what's disturbing your peace. It's so minuscule that sorry if that word came out wrong or weird. Um, it's so small that it's so subtle that your physical body is recognizing this before you're mentally able to process it, or even that you even have the mental cognition to be able to process it. And so you're moving through these little things, you're understanding where and how to draw boundaries, what those look like, why and how boundaries are important, and the best way for you to play with more of you, more of your life, and to create the right space and environment for you to grow, play, and create with, for you to breathe with, right? Life is, it pulsates and it breathes, right? Just like our hearts, it pumps, it expands and contracts, and it's the same thing. Whether it be people, situations, limitations, whatever it is, emotions, it just breathes. There's this movement to it. And so you're learning that there's more movement available for your life. And for you to welcome in and say hello to this movement of your life, this flow of your life, this new season of your life that you are saying yes to. That there's people and stories that you've seen and moved through and with, and you're like, yes, I have these deep feelings and these excitement. However, it shouldn't be in my space. There's components to it that just don't add up and it's a bit confusing. So when something is confusing, give it space for it to clear up, but it's not something that you are actively working on. It's not something that you're actively focusing on. Focus on your basic needs, right? On your duties, if you will, right? on your responsibilities. Focus on that. Focus on taking care of yourself, things that are a bit more predictable and that you already understand. Other parts that you're figuring out, still give them space, at least 5 minutes throughout your day, um, to work on it, to give it the room to resolve itself, for it to become clear if you need it to be clear, or if you want it to be clear. But for something to resolve, it doesn't need necessarily clarity, but it's decisiveness on if you choose to let it continue on, or if you're going to have a conversation around it, because you know what, conversation might be the better solution than to cut it off and walk away. And it's understanding that, and not to shame the part of you that does end up cutting things off and just walking away. Um, Respect that that was something that you did and that you are doing, and know that when you're ready to have these conversations and extend yourself, you will be given the capacity to hold the chaos a little bit more without crumbling. Right now, you're in a state that you might be either crumbling. So, if in those states, yes, you do need to be a little bit more black and white about things. And then there's the other states where you're realizing there's a bit more nuances to it, and you dive into a little bit of that. And I know the person that people that do end up leaning more into those nuances are a little bit more empathic in their life, and they're a bit more receptive and curious about why someone does something or moves the way they do. And so you're just wanting to step into life just a little bit different. Um, so yes, let's see what Goddess has in store and what she wants to focus, what she wants you guys to focus on for this message, for this time, for this energy that is actively passing through. Um, and a lot of it, I feel like, is it's coming back to peace, peace of mind, to give yourself 5 minutes out of your day for just silence, quiet, and for that to be the symbolism of peace of mind. For you to actively practice what it's like for you to be in the space of peace, and what that looks like, what that breathes like, what that feels like, what that essence is, right? To end the understanding and the perception you have, the depth to the perception of life that you have, the meaning that you have to a certain something, someone, an expectation. You're saying, I am going to put that down, I am going to step away from it and do things differently. I'm going to listen differently, I'm going to feel differently, I'm going to speak differently, I am going to do it differently. That's what you're saying yes to. And that's what you're leaning into. That's what's being asked of you right now. Um, and you know that it's whatever you've been thinking about, you know it's not the truth of the story, it's not the full picture. Um, you've made something to be so big and scary and pushed it aside. You've made it a limitation. It's been made and perceived to be a limitation when in actuality it isn't, or it's made bigger than it needs to be. So it's like fear mongering on um, a certain idea, a certain way of living, and just to be curious and a little bit more open. It's okay that it doesn't suit you, but when you have the capacity to hear and see a different story, listen to that different story. That's it. Listen to the different story. Okay, so why did you tell me that's it and then say that there's more? Okay, so why? What is this more? Um, the more, the more is. Okay, I'm gonna have to put this down. So yes, there is more that she wants me to talk about. The more being that there's more to the way you feel about yourself, and these limitations and fears are limitations and fears that you have of yourself. So as much as there's stories of that are told externally that you have around people around you, it's also looking at you and the way those stories reflect of you and your limitations and stories and whatever those little nuances are, you're seeing that within yourself and you're saying, wait, why am I thinking this way? And is there another way to think of things? Is there something that I'm not seeing about me, about my own internal truth, about my own sovereignty, about my own power that I don't understand? So, where can I go to learn this new power? Where can I go learn how to express my own power from a truthful, honoring place? How do I honor myself in my sovereignty, in my strength, in my beauty, and how do I hold myself in reverence? How do I set the example for how people should hold me in reverence? What is that something? What is that? That's what this is, Hierophant, is talking about, is the teacher, the internal teacher that is coming out and showing you different perspectives of who you are, of how you have made yourself small in a way that um, is not true. You've made yourself small, you've told a story, an idealized story of whether it be victimhood, whether it be of someone being this most holy, best person that they possibly could have been. But you know what? They were chaotic and nasty, you know? It was just this love that you had for them that diluted the way you thought about them, that you saw the purity in them. However, just because you were so compassionately seeing the purity of them, the truth of them, you didn't hold them accountable for their messiness. And the way that you have been perceiving your life, that's changing. The peace that you are stepping into is the stories that you've been talking about, the people around you, and the stories that you've been saying that, oh, this person is this, but in actuality, they are causing you your health. Okay, she wants to come out. Um, the Hermit, you are being asked to go within yourself to actively look at why and how you could be possibly stepping into the truth that there is an internal guidance, your own protective force, sorry, your own internal protective force that is showing you your own power, your own strength, your own ability, and where and what you are having to cut off. It doesn't mean it's a full ending and cutting a cord, but it is that, like, you are cutting a cord, but it's not in the way that you think that it is. There is more stories available. There's more nuances. There's more limitations that you're moving through, and you're saying, okay, these stories are going to change. These expectations I have are changing. These limitations are changing, and I am going to do things a bit differently. I'm going to ask different questions. I'm going to breathe differently. I'm going to move differently. I'm going to play differently. I am not the way that I thought that I was. I'm not who I thought that I was. I'm not the limiting story that I thought that I was. I'm not the victim that I thought that I was. I'm not the savior and the hero that I thought that I was. Um, I'm not the provider that I thought that I was. Wait, I don't need to save and protect and serve like this? What? What are these stories that I'm seeing and hearing about myself? You're understanding, you're becoming more introspective of how you are showing up in your life and the life that you are actively living. Okay, so this was a bit of a short message, a short little insight into what you are stepping into who you are becoming. And I truly hope that this message has given you a little bit of solace, a little bit of clarity of what you are uh, moving through. This message is complete. It's exactly what it was meant to be. Something that was short and sweet, uh, a little force of power of showing you the momentum that you have been taken on and um, the journey that you're stepping into and what could be ways that you can move through it. And I really hope that this has provided you with some information on how you can move forward in your life and how you are being guided towards a more higher aligned path of you. And I hope that this message has given you some direction into what you were looking for. I truly wish you guys all the best, and I will speak to you soon.